Welcome to What's in the Pot. I'm your host, Sean Grande, and today we're making a jerk turkey. It's What's in the Pot. Thanks for tuning in to What's in the Pot. We remind you to hit that subscribe button so you are notified each time we drop a new video. Now, this is a 14-pound turkey. I've washed it, cleaned it, washed it out some lemon juice, and I've spatchcocked it, which means I've cut out the back of the turkey. It's gonna make cooking time a lot easier. So these are the ingredients. We're gonna start with our seasoning. I'm starting with 4 Scotch bonnet peppers, some thyme, 2 sprigs of green onions, and 1/4 of an onion. Now we're gonna start with the 4 Scotch bonnet peppers, and then we're gonna start adding our green onions. And I'm gonna kind of do this in a process where, because the food processor I'm using is not very huge, so we're gonna start blending a little bit, and then we're gonna add a little bit more. One last ingredient before I blend it up is 6 cloves of garlic. Now I'm using the minced garlic, but you can use regular kind of garlic. It's really up to you, but just add 6 cloves. Now you can see everything's all blended up, so we're gonna start adding our second ingredients. I'm using some thyme. I'm using some fresh thyme. I'm using maybe about 4 or 5 pieces of thyme. If you don't have fresh thyme, you can use about 1 tablespoon of ground thyme or 2 tablespoons of just the thyme leaves. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of a dark mushroom soy sauce. This is what gives the jerk season that nice dark flavor. And I'm also adding 1/2 cup of pimento seeds, also known as allspice berries. If you don't have this, you may need to find the powder. Check any local Caribbean shop. Now I'm adding 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And one last thing we're gonna add is 1/2 cup of brown sugar. We're gonna add that in, we're gonna give it a blend. Now one thing is, when we're gonna be blending this up, you wanna kind of have a little bit chunky. You don't wanna have it too watery or too much of a thin paste. We just wanna have it chunky. So when you're blending, don't over blend it. And the absolute final ingredient is salt and pepper. I'm just adding about 1 teaspoon of black pepper and about 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Really, salt and pepper is always for taste. Give it one more blend and then we'll be good to go. Now there is our final product, a beautiful, beautiful jerk seasoning, nice and chunky and thick, and it's spicy too. I've emptied the portions of the seasoning into a bottle, and we're gonna go ahead and start seasoning our turkey. And you just wanna go ahead and add the seasoning to the top, the bottom, the sides, and you just wanna give it a good rub. We wanna rub it in and make sure we get all that seasoning into each creases and crevices all over the turkey, so we get all that flavor in. Now we're gonna flip the turkey around and we're gonna do the marinade on this side as well. And you just wanna make sure you work that marinade in as much as possible, because we wanna make sure we get all that jerk seasoning, all that flavors in. I'm gonna flip it over, and I'm also gonna try to insert it underneath the skin. When you put it underneath the skin, underneath the breast, it gives a little bit more of that extra flavor. So not just the coating has the jerk seasoning, but inside of it as well. I've added the turkey to a large bowl. I'm just adding a little bit more seasoning to the top. We're gonna saran wrap it, and we're gonna let that marinate overnight in the fridge. Minimum amount of time I would say you wanna get this marinate is 4 to 6 hours, but overnight or 2 days is the absolute best. It's the next day, and we're gonna get ready to roast this turkey. But before that, I'm using about 2 tablespoons of melted butter and 1 teaspoon of our jerk seasoning. Now what I wanted to do is add a little bit more flavor. It's been marinated in the fridge overnight, but I want to add a little bit more flavor and keep the turkey moist, because really I'm not a huge fan of turkey, but when I do it this way, it keeps the turkey moist. You have a lot of that flavor, that butter, that jerk seasoning. It's absolutely delicious. Whatever's left over, we're just gonna go ahead and brush it on the turkey and get this thing roasting. Now I have the turkey set. I've tucked in the wings, you can see, and I'm gonna cover it with foil. And I got this idea from Chris. I actually spoke to Chris from Caribbean Pot just for a couple tips on the best way to roast a turkey. He suggested covering it with foil, and I'm gonna bake it for 1 hour on 375. And we wanna make sure we kind of tent it, because we don't want the foil to stick to the turkey, but we want to make sure that we get this turkey nice and roasted. The foil will keep in a lot of the flavor, keep in the moistness, and then we're gonna go ahead and roast this for 1 hour at 375. This is our turkey after about 1 hour and 15 minutes, and I left it in for 1 hour and 15 minutes. Now you can see it's looking absolutely beautiful. All that juice, I'm gonna go ahead and baste it back and put it back in the oven. So I let the turkey cook for another hour and a half uncovered and basting it every 30 minutes with the drippings from the pan. And you can see it is absolutely delicious. You can smell that jerk flavor. I wish you could smell it through the screen. But thank you very much for tuning in to What's in the Pot. Please like, share, and subscribe. Send this to your friends. Send this to your family. Till next time, have a happy holiday season. I mean, you don't need to be the holidays to roast turkey. Till next time, peace.